Let me go ahead and let's get started off, do our traditional kickoff as we're going through this here. We've still got people joining, but guess what? They can still hop in. Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us today for our Silverton Speaker Series episode. I'm Corey Knight, the Director of Sales Training and Development here at Silverton Mortgage, and I have the pleasure of hosting this episode. And I'm delighted to introduce our esteemed guest speaker, Dustin Owens, the creator and host of the Loan Officer Podcast. Dustin Owens, aka DO, joined the mortgage industry in 2004 as a rookie LO. Within 2 years, he was funding 100 plus units per year in personal production. Dustin leveraged his success as an originator into careers of mortgage sales executives. Most notably, Dustin grew his production operation from one branch funding $40 million per year to 7 branches funding $70 million per month. 40 per year, 70 per month. Let that sit in for just a moment. As you know, Dustin is the creator and host of the Loan Officer Podcast with over 1 million downloads per year and is the most popular podcast in the mortgage industry. Because of its success, Dustin launched TLOPS, Originator Coaching, which is known as the #1 value for business coaching and sales training in the mortgage industry. Outside of work, Dustin enjoys traveling and competing in Ironman races. He is a very proud University of Central Florida alumni and a diehard UCF football fan. So, Justin, right here before we dive in, just do want to have to do our legal thing. Just want to lay a little groundwork. The opinions and interpretations rendered today are solely those of Dustin Owens and TLOP and do not necessarily reflect the position of Silverton Mortgage. We may be discussing any legal concerns, and of course, none of this should be construed as legal advice. The session will last between 30 and 45 minutes, so if you have questions, please use the Q&A button located at the bottom of your screen. Staff will monitor and collect your questions throughout the session so that we can do a Q&A at the end. We are recording this episode and it will be available at Silverton Mortgage's LinkedIn website for future learnings. So here we go. Let's start talking off. You just, like you just said, you just wrapped up Mastermind, which everyone is there to go, okay, what are we going to do approaching 2026? And with all the major shifts you see in the sales landscapes and companies, how can the mortgage professional position themselves to capitalize on those changes?
Well, first and foremost, I want to say hello, everyone, and thank you, Corey. Thank you, Silverton, Rue, Hannah, the entire crew over at Silverton. You all have been amazing to work with. And yes, your disclaimer is a similar disclaimer that I always give to people, which is like, look, any answer I give, any advice I may spew, this is the world according to Dustin Owens. Now, I am a 20-plus year mortgage sales professional. I've had tons of failures, a few successes, and I have a lot of friends throughout the industry that sometimes if I don't have a me story, I tell their story. But I ask everybody to fact check, feel free to disagree, but this is not so much my answers are in my humble opinion, it's more in my humble experience. And yes, I'm stoked to be here. So thank you so much, Corey and Silverton, for having me. So the question you asked was, and I'm going to rephrase it back to you, Corey, what should originators be doing more of in 2026? Or were you looking more for the notes from Sales Mastery that happened 2 weeks ago?
I'm looking for your humble experience and forecasting, kind of going, okay, here's how I see the landscape. What do originators need to do in 2026 in order to make it a successful year?
Perfect. I have good news for them. Like awesome news. If it's true, it's not new. And if it's new, it's not true. So much of what we need to be doing as originators is not new. This has worked a decade ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Now, it doesn't mean that we don't embrace the new. In fact, I have what I call a DO's principle. Like we all have heard of Pareto's principle, right? That's the 80-20 rule. 80% of all income is earned by 20% of the populace. 80% of crime is committed by 20% of the populace, right? 80-20 rule applies to just about anything. Well, a DO's rule is 80% of my time, effort, energy, and money goes towards what is proven. 20% goes to the unproven. And if you can embrace that, then you'll be successful not just as an originator, but as an entrepreneur, a business operator. In fact, I'm not smart enough to come up with that on my own. I swiped it and adapted it from Steve Jobs and his company, Apple. Because if you're an Apple engineer going back 20 plus years, 32 to 40 hours of your work week was doing what they hired you to do. 8 hours to 15 hours was you working on a project that excited you. That's actually how we got Gmail, believe it or not. So when I'm answering the question, what should an originator be doing? I'm going to start with get up every day, put on their uniform, and go to work. And when you're at work, you work. Okay, now go to work may be your basement, it may be your attic. I'd prefer if you drove across town and went into an office and you had 8 other mortgage professionals there doing what you do. Okay, I'm not going to continue to swim upstream and fight against the current, but that's what I would prefer. Then when you're at work, what do you have to do? You have to win by noon. What does win by noon really mean? It means I have to prioritize my sales activities. Okay, I also have to remove the guesswork. How do I remove the guesswork? Well, I follow theme days. What are theme days? Theme days tell me what I do that day. If it's Monday, I'm calling the 20 realtors that I know and they know me. I'm checking in. I'm fishing for referrals. Tuesday is when I'm doing my pipeline review. It's also when I'm proactively reaching out to buying agent, listing agent, title company, borrower. And sure, I'm being a great communicator by giving them an update on the file, but really, I'm asking them my 4 favorite words. Who do you know? Who do you know? Every opportunity I get to ask for a lead, I need to take, because what is my job? My job as an originator is to get a lead. If I get a lead a day, right, it like keeps the creditors away. It used to be like what was like an apple a day keeps the doctor away. A lead a day keeps the bill collectors away. Because if you get a lead a day that's 20 a month, you should be having 3 to 4 closings. And although 3 to 4 closings might not make you rich, 3 to 4 closings in today's environment with where LO comp is and average loan size is, 3 to 4 closings is still a really good living, better than nurses, cops, and teachers make in most areas. So I'm attacking my day very intentionally. And then I'm looking at what am I not doing? And am I leveraging? So when it comes to technology, am I a fast follower? Right? I don't need to be an innovator of technology. That's not our industry. I don't even think your companies need to be innovators of technology. I think your companies should be fast followers and early adopters. So the short answer is I'm not doing anything differently than what I should have been doing all of these years. Now, many of us haven't been doing what we should have been doing.
Oh, yes.
So then it's like, okay, I need to start doing more of what I should have been doing. And if you need some inspiration, then go buy James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, and that'll inspire you to get 1% better per day. And then you'll learn nothing in life changes if nothing changes. So you have to make at least one change into your habits, one change to your behavior, one change to how you structure your day or what you prioritize. And if you do that one change over and over and over again, what you'll see after the course of 6, 9, or 12 months is your results have drastically changed. So that is in a semi-short answer. That's what people should be doing in 2026, coming off of 2025.
Well, basically, we're going old school. COVID changed so much, and that drop in the rate, just people not getting out, not doing. But now you're spending your time. It's time to reach back out. It's time to go. And I know we're going to dive into it a little, here, just in the next question. But when you talk about spending that, doing 8% of the time, stuff that works. I think some people are like, you're very focused in the themes. And so your themes keep you structured for the day. And one thing I loved about what you said when I think it was day 2, when you're reaching out to the pipeline and you're reaching out doing updates, is I think so many of us have blinders on. So we call to get an update and that's where it ends.
Correct.
You ask, who do you know?
Who do you know? Yeah, it's our job to get a lead.
Mhm.
Okay. It's not my job to run AUS. It's not my job to calculate income. It's not my job to research loan programs.
Mhm.
It's my job to get a lead. It's my job to network. It's my job to sell. It's my job to convert leads.
Right.
Now, the work I have to do once I've done my job, Oh, the work I have to do is run a US and extend that rate lock and call about the appraisal that's 3 days overdue, or maybe it came in low, or whatever the case may be. That's the work we have to do once we've completed our job. But our actual job is to get a lead a day, and preferably two or three if you're trying to elevate into that top producer status. Now, I coach theme days. I was coached theme days. Again, most of what I do and say, I wasn't smart enough to innovate, but I was diligent enough to implement. And then once I implemented it and I saw the success, I was like, oh, those people I paid a lot of money to tell me how they became successful were right. This stuff works. So therefore, we still coach it. So I'm not going to bore the audience with like, oh, what's the theme day for Wednesday? What's the theme day for Thursday? What is it for Friday?
Right.
All 5 days have a theme day, but I'll share this with you about theme days. It's not just for the mortgage industry. Okay, my sister's a elementary school teacher.
Mhm.
Do you think she just shows up on Monday and says, I think today the kids go to PE? No,
Right.
she knows PE is Tuesday and Friday. Does she on Tuesday be like, I'm going to do social studies today and I'm going to do it tomorrow, I'm going to do it the next day? No, she has a curriculum that she's following, and
Right.
she knows social studies is just Tuesday and Thursday, and math and science and reading is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, right? Like elementary school teachers know this. My garbage collector follows theme days. Like he and his team don't just roll into my neighborhood being like, I feel like grabbing Dustin's garbage today. No, we have a deal. I know they come Tuesdays and I know they come Fridays and Wednesdays for recycling. We said earlier how I like to do triathlons, Ironman competitions. So that means I'm training every week, every day of every week, and I'm needing to bike, swim, and run as part of my training. And I lift weights occasionally. Well, do you think I just roll in on a Tuesday and be like, I feel like going on a 5 mile run today? No, I know my 5 mile run is on Wednesday. I know my 9 mile run is on Sunday. I know I bike Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And I know my Saturday bike ride's my long one because I can't get a long ride in on Tuesday and Thursday because I had this thing called work. So all of that said is theme days isn't new, but it is true. And it works outside of mortgage. And it's how we remove the guesswork. That means when I go to bed at night, I know what I'm doing the next day. When I go into the office by 8:30 every single morning, I know what I'm doing. I'm winning by noon. I'm following my theme. And ultimately, I'm trying to have 10 meaningful conversations per day. That's what I'm trying to do. And people will ask, hey, Dio, what's a meaningful conversation? Simply put, it's three things. Is the person I'm talking to someone who can do or wants to do a home loan with me? Yes or no? Is the person I'm talking to someone who could consistently refer me people who need a home loan? Think builder, think realtor, think financial advisor, think divorce attorney. Or is the person I'm talking to someone who can refer me to someone who can refer me consistent business? Think I'm talking to a title company and I'm asking that title company, who do you know? Who do you know currently that has a transaction going sideways? I'd love an introduction. Maybe I can save the deal. Who do
Mhm.
you know that could use a great lender like me? I'd love an introduction so that I can maybe help that realtor achieve their goals next year, sell more homes, make more money. So I think ultimately, if our first job is to get a lead a day, the second is if you want to make sure you're staying in growth mode and you're getting that lead a day, well, just make sure you're having 10 meaningful conversations.
Okay, so I love the fact that one thing you have the blinders off and you're looking everything is an opportunity to you, which is perfect because that's the whole world's an opportunity for a self-employed loan originator.
Yes.
Now, when you're talking about that, how do you have so much competition out there. I mean, everyone's calling, everyone's going. You set yourself apart as far as your structure and what you do, but really, how do you develop meaningful relationships with these partners, like your 20 that you call on Monday, and the other ones you're trying to work with to have the meaningful conversations? How do you develop that in today's very distracted world?
Ooh. Um, okay, well, first be likable. And that's probably the one thing I haven't figured out how to coach yet
Mhm.
is how to be likable. Like what do likable people do? They're naturally inquisitive. They ask great questions and they're always looking to provide value. Right? Like that is
Right.
typically if you want to be likable, you ask lots of questions. The person you're talking to will then respond. If that person's doing all the talk they like you. They think the conversation is going well. Obviously, by being inquisitive, it allows you to ask questions and typically ask good questions. And then if you are truly putting others first, right? That whole saying, like, put others first, you'll never be last, but it kind of works. So we start with like, okay, are we likable? But what am I doing to be likable? I'm showing up online. Right? I show up online on LinkedIn, I show up online on Instagram, and when I'm showing up online, I'm showing people who I am. Right? Who I am is mortgage, sure, but so is being a husband, so is being a dad, so is being a Atlanta Braves fan, so is being a triathlon, so is, being someone who participates in Special Olympics, so is so many other things that when I show up online, if all I see is mortgage, 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 I'm a pretty disingenuous person. I'm not very likable. So I need to make myself likable. So I show up online so
Mhm.
people can get to know me. If they get to know me, they can get to like me. And by the way, not all people like me. Not all people will like me. I have to get over myself and know that that's okay because I don't like all people.
Right.
But the right people will find me
Mhm.
and they'll like me. And if they like me, then they'll give me a chance to build trust with them, right? Know, like, and trust is what we're trying to do. So you're asking the question, like, what am I doing? The first thing I'm doing is making sure I show up online.
Okay.
By showing up online, by the way, I'm not doing this to generate leads from strangers. Okay, are there people in our space who do that? Sure. And they're outliers. Like I have one that coaches for me at T-Lops Originator Coaching. Her name's Rebecca Richardson. She's an amazing human being, a badass mortgage professional. Sorry, I probably shouldn't have said that word, but she is. Um, and on social, she's the mortgage mentor. Look her up. She has like over 100,000 followers. And currently, one third of her business comes from that.
Oh, wow.
However, she's an outlier.
Yeah.
Malcolm Gladwell wrote an amazing book called Outliers. She would be in Malcolm's like next edition, and
Mhm.
people like her. There's a Jordan Nutters in your market in Atlanta. She's an outlier. Most of us, we need to show up on social for three reasons. Remind our friends and our family that we exist and that we help people like them when they need to purchase real estate or get a home loan. Okay, we need to show up on social so that those realtors and builders that we do know that they're seeing us, we're seeing them, and we're engaging, and we're staying top of mind. Like
Mhm.
staying top of mind, we needed to do that in 2004 when there was no Facebook and Instagram.
Right.
But Corey, guys like you did that by doing Popeyes.
Yeah.
Right? That's what we
Oh,
did
yeah.
back in the day. And Popeyes still work. Like stop by an office, drop off some flyers, bring them a rate sheet, drop off some cookies, whatever you did. Why'd you do that? Because you were just trying to stay top of mind. So we show up online so that we can stay top of mind. And then the third thing we do is by being active online,
Mhm.
then what I'm doing is softening up the ask when I do reach out to someone that I don't know and I do ask them to meet me, they feel like they already know me because we've been connected on social. And more specifically, I post. I
Mhm.
don't vomit. Vomit is when all of my posts are nothing but like mortgage, 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 mortgage.
Mhm.
And I've been engaging in their posts. So yeah, when it comes to like what am I doing to build the trust, I think it starts there.
Okay.
And then when I'm in the meeting, no, the meeting has to be about them, not me, right? The meeting's about them. If I'm talking, it should be to ask a question, or if they answer my question and there's some kind of a commonality, like I have a short story that I can connect to their answer to show them that we're linked or we're bonded,
Huh.
I will give them some feedback, but right before I ask them to go deeper on their answer.
Okay.
And then I'm when I say I'm there to help, I am thinking as a loan originator. And if Corey's my realtor, how did Corey's year go this year? Okay. Did he achieve his goals? Did he fall short? If he fell short, I want to know, well, why did you fall short? How could have I prevented that if we were
Mhm.
partnered together? If you exceeded your goals, I want to celebrate that with you and I want to learn from you. Oh my God, what did you do? Because so few realtors in this market have actually exceeded their goals. I want to
Right.
know what your goals are for next year. And more specifically, I'm thinking, what do I need to do to make sure Corey exceeds his goals? Like, how can I help Corey generate more leads, convert the leads he currently has, at a higher percentage so that he can sell more homes, make more money, and preferably look good while doing so.
Okay, well, here this comes around the question because you set yourself up with social so they know you like you. How do you get them when LOs should be calling, but let's say they're calling? How do you get them to meet with you? What should you have a? I know we talked about it some. Kind of what your statement going. Hey, I'm going to call them and say, here's why you want to meet with me.
Yeah, this is a crazy concept. It's going to blow people's minds. I want you to be honest and straightforward, right? So in a perfect world, I avoid cold calls as much as possible. It's
Right.
not that they're beneath me, and it's not that I'm not willing to do them, but I try to avoid them because I look for some kind of a triangle of trust, some kind of a who do they know that I know that I can reference, or that has at least given me their name and number, or has somehow like connected us through a three-way text. The
Okay.
minute you start doing that, you start putting intentionality, you'll start getting more people picking up your calls, willing to meet you. But regardless of that, I'm literally going to pick up the phone, or by the way, I may DM and text, which I'll cover that in a second. But if this was a phone call, I'm like, hey Corey, this is Dustin over at T-Lop Lending. I got your name and number from Diana Bass. I was telling Diana how my business is currently taking on 2 new clients. Who does she know that would make a phenomenal partner to me? You see, I'm a lender and you're a
Mm-hmm.
realtor.
Right.
My job, and the reason why I call realtors my clients, my job is to help you sell more homes, make more money, generate more leads, but you and I don't know each other. So the purpose of today's call is I want to introduce myself to you. I want to let you know that Diana says great things about you, but more specifically, I want to ask you to sit down and meet with me because I'd love to learn ways or try to figure out ways that I could help you exceed your sales goals next year. And then before they answer that, I would just ask, are you a morning person or an afternoon person? Would
Mm-hmm.
you prefer coffee in the morning or grabbing drinks after work one day? Do you like Tuesdays or Thursdays? Right? It's a very simple, but it starts with, hi, my name is, I work for, I'm calling for this reason. I got your name and number, or you referred to me by so and so. It's rinse and repeat. I need to make 12 of those phone calls a day. I'll have 8 people not pick up, maybe
Mm-hmm.
9. I'll have 3 or 4 pick up. I need 1 to say yes. Just one. One person to say yes, and I rinse and repeat it until I've gone on 60 of those meetings. Because if I go on 60, here's what I know. Of the 60 I go on, 30 of them probably don't sell enough homes consistently, or if it's a financial advisor or a divorce attorney, they're not going to have enough clients to refer me that it was like worth my time in the long run. Okay, I'm left with 30 that I have determined, you know what, this was worth my time in the long run. Of those 30, you know what, 15 of them didn't like me or I didn't like them. So I
Right.
now have 15. But the 15 that I have left will be good for 1 to 2 transactions a year, every year in perpetuity. So just by completing this exercise, which by the way, I call this exercise the 12-week challenge. It's something that I coach. I make
Mm-hmm.
every one of my boot camp students do the 12-week challenge. But when you do it, you think about 15 transactions on the low end, right? 15
Right.
transactions. On the high end, 30 transactions. Let's call it 24 transactions at an average loan size of a little bit over $300,000, right? Like we're looking at $7-8 million in incremental volume.
Right.
That's $70,000 to $90,000 in personal income, all because you were willing to do this, call or text or email 12 people a day every day for 12 weeks to go on 60 appointments. And that's the approach. I told you I would talk about DMing and texting.
Mm-hmm.
Just know on DMing and texting, because there's no voice inflection, right? Because there's no tonality there. I am not a text you, try to take you home at the same time.
Okay.
Right? So, especially on a DM, I'm going to DM you. I'm probably going to start by complimenting something you've recently posted, right?
Okay.
I'm going to lead with compliments and gratitude. I'm going to get into some form of a back and forth engagement. Maybe on the third back and forth is when I make my statement, right? Rarely am I going to reach out to a stranger I've never communicated with via a DM and just go straight in for the kill. Um, that's just, I found more success if I kind of pepper them a little bit, compliment, gratitude, a little bit of a small talk. Then I go in for my request. My request is just to get a meeting.
So this is easy, especially if you have an agent on both sides, for the agent on the other side to make that
Oh,
same call.
well, look, if we're talking listing agents, this is a phone call. The easiest phone calls we can make are the listing agents. The easiest. Your first one should be when the offer is being submitted to introduce yourself and to sell your buyer, right? The second one should be when the contract has been accepted and you've taken the formal loan application, right? The third should be to schedule a meeting because you just closed the transaction and went smoothly. But yeah, those listing agents are by far the low-hanging fruit. And a lot of times it's the low-hanging fruit that loan originators like just ignore.
Well, it's sort of like if they're sitting in a builder, it's the opposite. It's the buyer agent's low hanging fruit.
If you're sitting in a builder, yes. And it's interesting because I've run production for the past 15 years. I was an originator for 15 plus years. Um, the number of my colleagues that weren't or don't cross sell to the buying agents, it's just money left on the table. I have a coaching student of mine. He's a $150 million producer. The bulk of his business is builder turn down. He does a ton of FHA and VA manual underwrites, sub 600 credit scores. The guy crushes it, right? Like, you're doing that type of volume, you're making $1 million plus a year, you have a big team. The first thing we had to correct when I started coaching him, I said, what are you doing with the buying agents? What are you doing with, getting the next transaction, whether it's a refi or the move up purchase? And the answer was nothing. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, there's another $1 million a year of at least revenue that you're just allowing to leak out. So yes, if you are working with home builders and home builders are your primary referral source, then yeah, we 100% need to cross sell that buying agent and turn them into a raving fan.
Okay, so you just kind of went through like one high impact prospecting method that you use, which is calling that agent, being just upfront, like you said, keep it
Yeah.
real, stay honest. Is there any other tip that you give for any high impact prospecting?
Look, it ain't sexy. People always want the Ozempic shot for their business. I don't have it. I talked to my sales team this morning because we have 2 spots to fill on this boot camp that starts on Wednesday. Um, and one of my sales reps asked me, "He's like, man, if we just had something." I go, well, Blake, if I just had something that didn't require hard work, I'm like, yeah, we'd be billionaires, because I could just hand it to every loan officer out there. Here, take this pill. No, when it comes to your prospecting, you understand that it's a marketing strategy that you're deploying. So if I were to go back to the basics, I'd ask somebody, do you have a top 100 VIP list of your circle of influence? These are people that you send holiday cards to, people you would invite to your wedding. Do they all know not just what you do for a living, but the type of people you help? Because the type of people you help are home buyers and real estate investors. But who are your clients? Well, clients are realtors, home builders, financial advisors. All 100 of those people would love to help you if they knew that you are in growth mode, that you're taking on new clients, and they knew what your client was. Most of us, including me, didn't do the best job of letting my VIPs, my circle of influence, know that my clients are realtors, builders, and financial advisors. And I would love it if they could connect me because I'm in growth mode, right? So we start there. I then look at my database, right? Look at your database as like a portfolio. Like if you had $1 million invested, would you ignore that portfolio or would you be logging in weekly, if not daily, making sure that your investments were in line with market conditions? You'd be logging in daily, at least weekly. Well, our database of past clients is a portfolio. Yet, guess what happens? So few of us actually log in daily, log in weekly, and make sure we're properly managing that portfolio. You have $1 million of commission sitting in that portfolio, but you're not doing annual mortgage reviews, but you're not celebrating their birthdays, but you're not sending a quarterly video market update that's only 3 minutes long, um, to remind people that you're still here, you still serve people like them, and to please call you anytime they have a question regarding real estate or mortgage. So, like when I'm looking at my prospecting, these are all the things that I should be doing. And then, how often are my referral sources hearing from me? And by the way, am I a true partner, or am I just a vendor with my hand out looking for a lead?
Right.
There's some relationships where you are just a vendor, and that's okay. But if you're going to call yourself a partner, what do partners do? Partners meet consistently, partners strategize, partners co-market. It doesn't have to be co-marketing with money. Co-marketing could just be I'm bringing marketing ideas to my realtors and I'm teaching them ways that they can leverage this idea to generate more home buyer leads or more people interested in real estate. But no, I'm not, my students are, and any top producer I know right now, Corey, we're not doing things that haven't already been done. Like I'm huge on virtual workshops,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not huge on virtual workshops where I would have someone who's not already closing 4 or 5 loans a month start
Mm-hmm.
doing them.
Gotcha. Right.
Yeah. So was that the angle you're looking to go, or
Yes,
did you have
actually,
something
no,
more specific?
no, that was great because one thing, it's a first time. I mean, like me, I've been doing this since 1994. I mean, I was 12, but
Yeah.
it. But the first time I've ever heard of, I've always called my database, say, hey, do you know anybody looking to buy or to buy a house or refinance? But to sit there and say, I'm looking for new partners. I'm looking for agents. That to me changes your call. And not to mention, it makes them think specifics rather than, it's sort of like it's like I tell real estate agents all the time, don't ask for a referral because now your client has to think they have to define a referral. But if you say who's looking to buy or sell a house, now they're thinking, who do I know that's looking to buy or sell a house?
Yeah.
So that to me was my golden nugget right here for today, because you did not say that during the practice.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
but
and I guess think about this. We all need to have who is our ideal client. If you're a producing manager, or heck, you own the company.
mhm,
Who is your ideal branch manager? Who's your ideal LO? When I'm a loan officer, who's my ideal referral partner? Who's my ideal borrower? And does my marketing and my sales efforts speak to who my ideal is? Like, could you ever imagine going to a bar and going, hey, just give me a drink? No, what type of drink? Beer, wine, non-alcoholic, alcoholic? What if I said beer? Just give me a beer. Don't bring me a Bud Light or a Miller Lite. I think that's gross. What I really wanted was an IPA. And what type of IPA did I want? A hoppy IPA, the one with the highest alcohol content, right? Like, that's how we order drinks. Don't just say, I want a whiskey. People who like whiskey know exactly the type of whiskey they like. They probably have 2 or 3 that they're okay with, one they love, and 3 they hate. When we're marketing and when we're selling, we need to be that specific as we are with our food choices and our beverage choices.
mhm.
Who is our ideal referral partner? Who is our ideal client? And then do my sales and marketing efforts speak to that? Or am I just speaking broad and I'm getting frustrated that I'm just ordering a drink and they bring me a white wine and I'm mad at that? No, like that's my fault. I should have said, I want a high lie. I want it 16 ounces and I want it in a frosted mug, because we can get that specific in what it is that we're looking for, but we do so with how we communicate, how we market it, and then how we sell.
People don't know they don't. You know what you want, but they don't know what you want till you tell them. So
Correct.
that's
Yes.
fantastic. Okay, I want to ask you this question, and then one final question because I know our time's about up here. What's a closing strategy that you use, especially when you go meet with these agents and stuff like that, in order to try to close and cement that relationship?
So I love the question. So first and foremost to the group, thank you all for hanging out this long and staying with us. I believe I coach it, I teach it, I lived it.
Mhm.
We leave every single meeting with at least 2 referrals or a commitment for 2 referrals. Okay. Even if the meeting is garbage, even if the meeting is no good, even if the person that you're with, you don't want to work with, cool. So I'm going to start with, if I'm having a meeting with someone that I have determined after 45 minutes, I think this is going somewhere I like. I think this is someone I'd like to work with. I'm a big fan of, I start and end every conversation with gratitude and a compliment, right? So I would say, Corey, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me. There's my gratitude. Like, your success in this industry is so impressive. Compliment. Very few realtors that I meet with are able to see their business in the lens that you do and have your type of drive.
Right.
I think there's a good chance that you and I working together is going to be mutually beneficial. Like, I think I can bring you value, but I don't want anything handed to me in life. I want to earn it. Can I count on you, Corey, to refer me your next 2 home buyers that need financing? Because here's the deal. I want to do a great job twice instead of trying to do a good job once. Anyone can do a good job once, but I want to do a great job twice. And if I do a great job twice, then I at least know I have earned the right to be one of the lenders that you can trust, that you can lean on, and that you can confidently refer. And guess what? If we do 2 transactions together and you don't like how I operate or I don't like how you operate, then we can move on. And at least now we know, right? So, like, that is my way. When the meeting goes well, I'm always asking for the next 2. And I
Mm-hmm.
may even say, hey, by the way, like, who do you know right now that you can connect me with?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'd love to get them on my schedule,
Right.
but I at least want the commitment. And I'm letting them know that anyone can do a good job once. I want to do a great job twice. I'm hammering home that I don't want anything given to me. I want it earned. And I'm even accepting the fact that I'm not going to be their only lender, at least not now, right? At least not ultimately. My goal, Corey, is I want to be your go-to lender, right?
Right.
I want to be the one that you trust the most because I can help all of your buyers. But I know it has to be earned. Now, if the meeting didn't go well,
Mm-hmm.
cool. Call it like you see it. Most of us aren't looking for a spouse. We're not looking for more children. We have friends and we don't see the friends we have enough. So I
Right.
don't even need new friends. So I need business relationships. I need clients. So I'm interviewing them as much as they're interviewing me. I'm interviewing them to be like, is this a client I want if I deem my realtors and my builders to be clients? They're interviewing me to be like, is this guy likable? Do I think that I can trust him? Does he know what he's talking about, right? Like, that's where the conversation is going. So let's just say it didn't go well. Like, for whatever reason, we didn't hit it off. I'd say, hey, Corey, I thank you so much for your time. Like, I love how convicted you are in who you are and where you're going. But I don't know if us working together is
Mm-hmm.
going to make a whole lot of sense. So, by the way, if you noticed, compliment, gratitude.
Right.
Like, every meeting, I start it and I end it, compliment and gratitude. So once I've done that and I make the statement, there's nothing wrong with me telling the truth. I'm being professional. I'm being polite. Corey, I don't think there's, us working together is probably not going to make sense, at least not right now with where I am in my career and where you're trying to go. However, I bet 2 people that you work with that probably would be a good fit for me. Let me ask you, Corey, who do you look up to in your office, right? Whether it's someone that is like a mentor to you or even someone that you guys compete against each other because you're both top producers. And then, Corey, who's the rising star in your office, right? At a minimum, I'd be honored if you could at least either give me their name and I can look
Mm-hmm.
up their number or make an introduction. So even when the meeting goes terrible, the one thing I can get from it is 2 names that I didn't already have. Because here's what can happen. The next week, when I'm making my calls to agents I don't know, which, by the way, that's Thursday's theme day. When I'm making those calls, I can say, hey, I was in your office yesterday meeting with Corey Knight. He was talking about how you're the rising star and someone to look out for. Well, I love working with rising stars because I am my company's rising star. Or I was once the rising star of my company.
Right.
And Corey suggested that we should meet because I help agents like you make sure you achieve your sales goals, sell lots of homes, make lots of money. Or, the opposite was, hey, I was meeting with one of your fellow top producers And he was saying how you're that person that he's constantly chasing.
Right.
And he even recommended that I reach out to you because he thought there'd be a good chance that the way that I operate and the way that you operate align, and we should meet to talk about working together in the future. Right? Like either way, I'm giving myself that opportunity to walk away from a great meeting or a bad meeting with referrals. The bad meeting, I'm getting referrals to other agents. The good meeting, I'm getting referrals to home buyers.
So you're looking for a win no matter what happens, which is
Yes, I drove across town. I prepared for this. I probably got dressed up. Like, dang it, yes. Yes, like I want something. And look, there's no such thing as a bad meeting. Like
right.
there isn't, because every meeting gives me an opportunity to perform
Mhm.
or to try new material or hear rebuttals or overcome objections. It's still a practice run. So there's no such thing as a bad meeting. But of course, our goal would be to have more good meetings than bad meetings. And if I'm going to show up, I'm going to get something in return. I owe it to myself. I owe it to my family that like if I'm that's my job, I should do my job well.
Yeah, like you said, so to kind of summarize that, because I want to open it up for the questions, because I have there's questions in there. So um, I love what you said about you're going for the win no matter what, because you said meet 60, knowing 30, which means hopefully 15.
Yes.
So now with that though, again, so, as you know, we hit the hurdles, things go slow. It this, that, and the other. There's trial and error, like you said. I'm going to try new things, and sometimes the wheels fall off that one. What do you do? How do you kind of get over that? Wow, that really went bad, and I mean nothing clicked, and or else this is taking a long time. How do you keep your mindset positive and moving forward? Okay, that one's done. Next, how do you do that? What tip can you give us in order to help you through that I got to build my pipeline, so to speak, and stay on top of it?
So I understand it's a marathon and not a sprint. And as cliche as that is, it truly is a marathon and not a sprint. It's our career. This is a 20, 30, 40 year game that we're playing. So just like one loan isn't going to make or break my career, right? That's why we don't commit fraud, because one loan's not worth it.
Right.
If I screw up one loan, it's not the end of the world. If one realtor hates me and never wants to refer me, that's okay. There's 20,000 other realtors out there. I'm looking for my 15 to 30, you know? So the mindset is that of I understand that I am in a marathon. And by the way, I'm in a marathon that really doesn't have an end date, right? There's no finish line. So I trust the process. I mean, how many people on this call, I wish I could see their pretty smiling faces, invest in a 401k? I know I do, and I have for 20 years. And I never log into my 401k unless I'm applying for a home loan and I need it for reserves and I need a statement, right? But I don't. Why? Like even now, I'm 47 years old. I'm 46. I think I turn 47 next month. If yeah, isn't that crazy? Like you forget how old you are.
Oh yeah.
I can't touch that money for another 12 and a half years. Okay, so I'm not worried about it. But why do I keep on investing? Because I trust the process. I trust that over time, with 100 years of data, that my money's going to grow. The rule of 72 is going to work in my favor, and the money I have today will be double in 12 years, right? Like, so when I look at my sales activity and my marketing strategy, I'm looking at it not day by day or week by week. I'm saying, this is what I'm doing this quarter so that I can be successful over the next 2 to 3 years so I can have a career that spans 2 or 3 decades. I focus on sales activity, not sales results. I'll tell people that your units and your volume tell me how hard you worked 90 to 180 days ago,
Right.
right? But your leads, your credit applications,
Hmm.
right? How many networking functions you attended this month? How many face-to-face meetings you had this week? How much time you intentionally spent on social networking, right? Posting, engaging other people's content. That tells me today whether or not you'll be successful tomorrow. So I care less about my results. I care most about what's my activity. Now, if my activity has been gangbusters, amazing, consistent for the past 12 weeks and my results are terrible,
Mhm.
okay, I have to stop. There's some soul searching to go on. is all my marketing efforts to the totally wrong people? Are all my marketing efforts the wrong marketing efforts? Or is there something about me, my appearance, my breath, my likability factor that I need to seriously assess if I'm being honest with myself and I knew my sales activity was like grade A, exactly where it needed to be. So short answer is I focus on the activities. I remind myself it's a marathon and not a sprint.
Mhm.
And I give things time.
Okay. Now, one thing that the questions again, if you all have more questions out there, please hit the Q&A button, put it in chat. Question I have for you is, what tool or strategy do you use to decide who you're going to meet with? Because I know you might get these referrals from, oh yeah, here, try these two agents, try this, but I know you don't want to drive across town for just anyone, because that's a lot of time spent to figure it out. So
Yeah.
what do you use to really pinpoint this is my threshold for me to spend my time, money, energy, effort? This
So
is where it's got to be.
several answers within there, and I'll be quick with them. Obviously, if you want to utilize a tool like Redder or Model Match or MMI, like CoreLogic, which now I think is Cotality, like all of these services are out there for us to be able to pull production data
Mhm.
to make sure that the people that we are going to be meeting with are, quote unquote, worth the drive.
Right.
Okay, so that's a good start. However, those services don't allow me to find the Henrys. High energy, not rich yet, right? That's what Henry stands for.
Okay.
High energy, not rich yet. I really look for people that have gas in the tank and a high ceiling. Or if it's a real estate agent, I want to ask, are you full-time? That matters to me.
Right.
Are you professional? I won't know that till I meet you. And are you in growth mode? So the full-time professional and they're in growth mode is what matters most. Redder and Model Match won't show me that. Now, if I'm so successful, right, I'm already doing 100 units a year,
Mhm.
different than if I'm only doing 30 or 40 units a year.
Right.
If I'm only doing 30, 40, go on the meeting, right? Go on the meeting, but your standards are they full-time? Are they professional? Are they in growth mode? If I'm already doing 100 units, maybe at that standpoint, I'm pulling production. And it's like, look, if you're not already in today's market doing 10 buy side a year, in a more normalized market, I'm probably looking for 15 to 20 buy side a year,
Mhm.
then I'm probably not going to be reaching out to you. And like when I was doing 144 units, at that point, I was doing that. I had 5 branches. The branches were doing another 500 million a year. I had to get to a point to where if you didn't operate a team, I probably didn't want to add you to my list of new clients because I was operating a team. And I just found that we were both aligned with how we saw the world and how we conducted business. Because if I'm operating with a lot of people who don't have teams, they might not like the fact that my LOA does as much work as she does, or they might not like the fact that Kevin's my team leader and Kevin's going to be their main point of contact. But other highly successful people with teams, they got it and they realized that we were an assembly line, that we were a machine, and we cranked out loans at volume and high service. So that was something that, based on where I was in my career, my mindset would change. Right now, though, for most people, no, you're looking for that Henry, or more specifically, are they in growth mode? Are they professional? Are they full time?
Okay. Well, we got to bring it to a close here, but I got one question that
We don't
I think
have to. I mean, no one's holding a gun to our head.
that is true. That is true. But either which way,
Yes.
we all
We,
have
we,
our
we want to be polite and professional to everyone and cognizant of their time.
that's correct. Now
Okay.
there we go. So here's the big thing. What would be the one thing that you would tell? They said, what's the one thing that I should start doing right now that always works?
Uh, get up 30 minutes earlier than you are. Start your day 30 minutes earlier than you are,
Mhm.
and you will give yourself 2 weeks of additional productivity a year. I mean, like that would be like my go-to right now because
Yeah.
I'm through all the boot camps and the coaching that I'm doing, and I'm looking at where people spend their time.
Mhm.
There's a lot of us who are not starting our days at 8:30 in the morning. We are not ending our day at 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Um, and the one thing that attracted us to this industry, the flexible schedule, is the
Right.
one thing that's preventing us from our ultimate success. This is your profession. This is your career. And I've said this to people. My mother drove a school bus for Seminole County here in Central Florida for 35 years. Okay, my mom had to get up every day, put on her uniform, and go to work, right? 4:30 in the morning. She was at the bus compound at 5. She was picking up high school kids at 6 a.m. I asked loan officers, do you think you're better than my mother, the school bus driver? And they're like, oh, of course not. I said, your actions tell me you think you're better. And I'm not saying you have to get up at 4:30 to get to the bus compound by 5 to pick up high schoolers by 6. What I'm saying is that you need to get up, put on your uniform, and go to work, just like my mom, the school bus driver, did, just
Mhm.
like your kid's second grade teacher has to,
Right.
right? And like, I think we've lost that mentality as a profession. And if we can get that mentality back and that scope of intentionality, everything else takes care of itself. Because if you go to work and you're a competent human, you're going to work eventually.
Right.
You might not work the first 2 days, but by day 3, you're going to get tired of doing nothing. You'll start to work. And it's just like anything. The more you do it, the better you get. The more you do it, the more habits you create. So for most of us, Corey, no, I'm not. It's not one marketing idea. It's not one sales tactic. It's more of a, how do you approach your day? What's your mindset? And where are your priorities?
No, I love that guy. I tell real estate agents the same thing. I said most reason realtors get into business is flexibility, and I say they're flexible enough to make as much money as they want. They're flexible enough to work the hours they want, and they're flexible enough to go broke. And
Yeah.
but I couldn't agree with you more. It's all how we structure our time and what we do with it. Like I said, there's no magic pill. Otherwise, like you said, you'd be a billionaire right now
Yeah.
selling that Ozempic, grow my business.
Yeah.
But it's getting out there and just doing the work, but scheduling that work. So let me go ahead and wrap it on up today. So unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. If you submit a question we didn't answer, please email me at corey.knight@silvertonmortgage.com. They'll put it in the chat, and we'll be sure to respond with Dustin's answers. You can also reach out to him directly. We dropped his socials in the chat. Please follow him. He gives great advice. Get his podcast. You know, knowledge helps you build power, and he dumps a lot of knowledge out there, and as you can tell, guys, it's very street level, and it's executable. So Dustin, on behalf of the audience and all of us here at Silverton Mortgage, we appreciate you spending time with us today. Your enthusiasm and passion are contagious and truly ignited my motivation, and I'm sure others on here too. As we continue the speaker series next year, be sure to follow Silverton Mortgage on social media for more information. Look for this recording on LinkedIn coming up here, and y'all have a great day. And thank you again, Dustin.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate you, Corey.
But thank you, sir.